LFC Daytrippers, brought to you by bookmakers.com.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Fatback 4 with the LFC Daytrippers. I'm Gav, and this week it's Emmet and Keith. Shawnee's off. I think he's doing support for Bruce Springsteen in the RDS or something. So he didn't make it this week, but it is me, Keith, and Emmet. And this show is brought to you by bookmakers.com. Check out their website where you can find all the stats, analysis, articles, whatever you need on sport. If you gamble, please do it responsibly on that site where you can get all the odds on all the sports from all the bookmakers. This week's show, the lads done a brilliant post-match show after we beat Brentford 1-0 yesterday. We've lengthened those shows out a little bit, as you may have noticed. So when we come to this Sunday night, we'll talk a little bit about the game, but we definitely want to talk about Anfield yesterday before kick-off. We want to talk about the results today, coupled with our results yesterday. The race for top four, a little bit of transfer stuff thrown in there, and we get it all done, wrapped up in about an hour and 4 minutes. Keith says you say that every week, but we'll try our absolute best. If you're in the chat, I'm going to say it early. If you're in the chat and you're watching now, and there's a couple of hundred watching now, hit the like button. Just do it now. Hit the like button. Then you don't have to do anything else if you don't want to for the rest of the show. So hit that now. I'll give you a little reminder later on as well. But it helps us if you hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. And that allows you to make comments and stuff, which we love in the chat. Turn your notifications on, and every time we are going to go live, you will get a notification. Charity stuff we'll talk about later as well, because it's starting to pick up and it's starting to get really close. But Liverpool beat Brentford 1-0 yesterday. Now, as I said, we're not going to go in-depth into the game. Keith, I'll come to you first. We're winning games. We're keeping clean sheets. They're not the best performances in the world. They look a bit disjointed at times, players coming in and out. But we're winning games. And we've said it for so long. At this stage of the season, performances are secondary to results. Now, we have got annoyed over certain performances, just through a lack of effort, we feel, in one or two. But I think that might be 6 league wins on the bounce for Liverpool, I think. But Keith, it was a win. It was a clean sheet. It keeps us in the race. And as we'll talk about later, it's a huge 3 points after what happened today.
Yeah, brilliant. You're right. Look, everybody wants the performances to improve because they haven't been great this year. We'll all put our hands up and say that. But at this stage of the game now, the performances, well, they do matter, because if you're not playing well, you're not going to be in a position to win these games. We're getting over the line in them, and that's the most important thing. Now, we felt there was a huge overreaction yesterday. Depending on where you watch the game, you probably seen it, you were listening to a different game than what your eyes were telling you, depending on who was trying to inform you of what was going on. But I thought Liverpool were comfortable yesterday, to be honest. I thought they snuffed out Brentford's threat as much as possible. We'll come on to their main fucking threat in a while, I'm sure, and he wasn't one of their players. But we got through the game. We managed it well, I thought. Well, we haven't been good at managing games this season either. Yeah. We really have struggled on that side of it. But I just felt that, the threat that they had, set pieces and things like that, they didn't really test us. Alisson a quiet enough game, and I think at this stage it's just about rolling on and getting the wins on the board. Because if you look at the other teams, if you look at Manchester United, they look dead on their feet. If you look at Newcastle, I reckon they're going to shit the bed as well. So Liverpool just have to get the points. That's all we have to do, and keep putting the pressure on, because pressure is going to play a huge part in this. And we probably still don't fully believe, I do, but we probably all still don't fully believe that the top four is on. But it's starting to go in their favour, and the muscle memory of doing this before, I think, will stand to Liverpool very, very well. And as we said, performances now do not matter. Give me another 3 scuttery 1-0s and I'll be happy enough. Just give me them 9 points and That's all we can ask for.
3 Scotty 1-0 and people's heads
Take
will
them.
be falling off game on
Yeah.
game because like
But that's people's
Liverpool,
fault.
Liverpool,
People
yeah,
are
but
saps.
Liverpool don't go out and the only time I've ever seen Liverpool go out and win 1-0 and you kind of go, we're never conceding here was probably 1920. We got a goal ahead and you go, we're just winning this game.
I
Every
thought you
other
meant in
season, like, and especially this
1920,
run in,
no, it's worse.
you know, one goal, you know, concede one goal, a draw feels like a defeat. We say that when we're in a title run, but a draw will feel like a defeat on this run in. We've Leicester away, Villa at home, Southampton away. That's our last 3 games. The other 2 play before us next weekend, funny enough, so we'll have a better idea come that. But Emma, Keith said something there. I thought Brentford were okay. I thought Tony was really good, by the way. But it was a bit more controlled. And it did feel like, I think it's interesting what Keith says there, muscle memory. Because it felt like Liverpool went... It looked to me like Liverpool felt this was a big weekend if anything was to happen for them in the top 4 race, because they knew Arsenal were going away to Newcastle. Arsenal have to win to keep that title race alive. United are wobbling a bit. I think they've taken 4 points from the last 4 games. So, you know, including today. So Liverpool probably went in there thinking, if there's a weekend that's going to change it or get us, you know, on a real momentum, this will be it. And it felt that way during the game, Emma. It was like, not keep what you have, but just make sure we don't get ourselves into trouble here.
Yeah, I think if the results happen the other way around, if United and Newcastle lose on Saturday and we had to go and do something on a Sunday, I think that's where we can sometimes be a little bit dodgy. It's the fact that we got to set the marker down first, so it'd be interesting to see now next week. But we looked a little bit more reassured yesterday. We have looked a little bit all over the place, a little bit panicky, but I just thought that we managed the game fairly well yesterday. A lot of people with the goal that they scored saying that Virgil getting caught out again. He did that all last season and everybody thought he was excellent. It's just that we're having a shit season this season. They think he's getting caught out. But I think Brentford they played really well. They had a game plan and that was to break the game up. There must have been a record for the amount of times the whistles was blown yesterday. Incorrectly and correctly. But they just came to kind of break up our rhythm. Klopp is big on rhythm. They just didn't allow us to get into one yesterday. And that's why maybe we're looking at the game and thinking, oh, we didn't play as well as we have done. But I think it was a case that we weren't allowed to play as well as we have done. They're big, strong. Tony and Buemo, whatever way you pronounce his name, they're just getting themselves about in people's faces. And I think that's what kind of broke our flow yesterday. It was a very stop-start game. But no, I thought as much as we haven't played, and I think we didn't play yesterday as well as we have done in the other 5 games that we've gone on the run of. I think it was more controlled maybe than some of those. So in terms of offensively or actually attacking wise, it wasn't as free flowing. But in terms of keeping them to the nil, I thought it was more reassured than other games.
It's funny because and Tarek is here. He says Thomas Frank in his post game said we were just not good enough up front. He didn't say we were the better side. No, I don't think Brentford were the better side yesterday by any means. But it was funny because Tony, I thought, was excellent. He holds the ball really well. He brings players into play. He'll stretch it. He's a really good forward, right?
Fast as well.
Yeah, someone's going to have to be looking at him in the summer. And I mean someone from probably a top 6 side. Definitely, if not top 4.
He's facing
right?
a whopper ban, but isn't he?
Yeah, I know. The ban will be a thing. But aside from that, I'd be surprised if most, if not all, of the teams in the top 6 will have a look at Tony. But kind of fed in. He is a Liverpool fan. But the thing was, him and Bueno for me were there to get fouls, get Brentford up the pitch, and then they can do what they do. If it's a long throw or it's diagonal free kicks, whatever it might be, I think that actually ended up suiting us. Because I think if Tony had to play to the way Tony can play, and Bueno is fast, right? If they'd have actually played to their absolute strengths, I think they would have put us under more pressure. Do you know what I mean? Like, maybe trying to not.
But they would have been more dangerous.
Yeah, they would have been more dangerous.
As an attack, as a goal threat.
Correct, and that's what I think Thomas Frank might be looking at, because as much as he likes his forwards to get their body in front, get fouls, get them up the pitch, if they'd have actually just went away from that a little bit, it might have hurt Liverpool a little more. Although it does hurt Liverpool that it's a stop-start game, because Liverpool like to get into a flow when you know where it goes and Trent's moving in and all this sort of stuff. And especially when he names those 4 forwards, you're thinking if you're in a flow here and there's plenty of movement, Brentford could be in trouble. But I think it actually played into our hands a little bit, and that's why I think it looked fairly assured. You know, there was no mad moments in a way you went, oh Jesus, here we go again, or Bueno's murdering someone down this side, or Tony's just bullying. So it wasn't like that. They just seemed to trying to be a nuisance rather than trying to be a threat. And I think, although that sometimes can hurt Liverpool, I think they dealt with it really, really well yesterday. Just on the referee, because look, we had a big thing about Paul Tierney last week, and I'm sure people are sick of listening to us talking about Tierney and whatever else, but you're nearly going to have to do this once a week where you have to ref watch, you know, the sort of way. But honestly, it was like he was getting paid for every time he blew that fucking whistle yesterday. Yeah. Non-fouls. Like, Keith, am I out my rocker thinking this? Because I was looking at it going, why is he blowing this whistle constantly?
Yeah. To be honest with you, right, and it sounds like a tinfoil hat merchant there, I think there was something sinister going on yesterday with the refereeing. And I don't think he's that bad. He stitched us up a few times, but in general, I think he's a decent ref. But that's one of the worst refereeing performances I can remember, and that's saying a lot.
That's saying something, yeah.
Every single contact was a foul against us, and every foul on our team was not given. So you had an instance where I think Salah got fucking dragged out of no free, play on. Trent got lumped off the ball, no free, and then they got a free. Everything was just nothing for Liverpool and everything to them. But it was nothing that was too contentious, if you know what I mean. It was just free kicks 35 yards out, which Brentford play for, by the way. But you can't look at it and say, well, he's after giving a penalty. I'd say he'd love to give a penalty if he could have. I'd say he was bleeding, gumming for a penalty yesterday. But there was no big, major, contentious one, so it'll go under the radar. And we won the game. But I genuinely think it's one of the worst referee performances I've ever seen in my life. And I genuinely believe there's something. I think, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again, I don't care, right? I think there's a huge, maybe unconscious bias against the city of Liverpool, the people of Liverpool, by its nature, Liverpool Football Club, right, in the UK. I think, you know, people can argue that and say, no, there's not. I genuinely think there is. But what I found is, with adding on to that, the fact that Klopp is in their faces all the time, that Robbo is, you know, falsely accusing the linesman of attacking him, even though we all seen him fucking elbowing him in the face. I think Liverpool now have a target on their back. And I think, me being paranoid, absolute paranoia, I looked at that yesterday and I just could not see anything other than Liverpool just being stitched up by a referee. Justin Ulysses says it there. Andy Taylor blew for a foul 19 times against a home team, a record. You know.
Well, Ashley says
not many bad foul in the game.
Ashley says Liverpool were charged, in inverted commas, with 19 fouls versus Brentford, their most in Premier League games since October 2015 versus Chelsea, which was 21, and the most at Anfield in the league since Southampton in 2010. Versus Sunderland, also 19, right? Kevin Sullivan reckon, he says, I honestly felt he would level her up in some sort of way, Anthony Taylor. Kieran B says it was a farce. Chris Brack says, who was at the game, says he was inept. In the ground, he was giving nonsense decisions for both sides, even booking Kanate for a foul that Gakpo commits. Yeah. It was absolutely mental. And, like, after their show last week, Shawnee's brother Paddy is a good friend of mine, right? Paddy's been on a couple of shows, and he used to be on loads of shows. Just life was taken away from me. But he rang me on Monday or Tuesday last week. He said, I've just been listening to the show from Sunday, he said, and I've been saying it for fucking months that they have something against us. And he's convinced of it. And he says, I'm in a WhatsApp group with all my brothers and there's loads of the Lawsons. And he was like, they all think I'm bleeding mad. He said, but like, they just have something against us, right? Now, Emma, you know, Keith says it there. Well, I feel like I'm wearing a tinfoil hat when I say this, but look, it's the most rational of Liverpool fan is actually turning around going, what is going on here? Because it's just, without it being like off the wall mental, what he does, to me, I felt, yes, he was like, I'll just give a free there and one here, and if it progresses them up a pitch, you know what I mean? Just try even get Brentford some sort of free kick somewhere where they might do something, rather than just go, if it goes in the box, I'm going to blow for a penalty, you know, and make it that obvious. But are we tinfoil hat merchants? Because I think the evidence suggests otherwise.
No, I don't think so. Look, you only have to look at Tierney alone. I know you discussed him last week, but you could put together like a 3-minute clip of mistakes he's made or poor calls he's made about Liverpool. It doesn't help that most of these come from Manchester.
That
The
just
people
adds
that are
to it,
giving
doesn't it? Yeah.
do you know what I mean? So that's going to heighten it. And yet, when you speak to other fans, they call us Live Varpil, like everything goes our way. Like, I think we've the fewest amount of penalties this year. I think 2 or 3. I think we have. But I was the same as Kev. I thought, like you said, there was a rake load of frees all from the one spot, and it actually even said in the commentary on the stream I was watching it on, this seems to be deja vu because they seem to be getting the same free kick in the same spot all day long. Now I've thought it for a long time as well, and not necessarily mad contentious ones, but if it's you see fouls being given against us, and then there's the exact same thing happening the opposite way around, and it being waved on, or not even waved on, not even being acknowledged as possibly a foul. Yeah, I've said for a long time, if we can have foreign players, why can't we have foreign refs?
Well, you have Michael Oliver going over reffing in Saudi Arabia while he's a Premier League.
Well, they do have an
Yeah,
Australian. They do have the Australian lad, don't
yeah,
they?
I get that, but you see, the Australian lad is an outlier because the PGMOL is independent of anyone. You know, they're contracted to the Premier League. Now, unless somebody else comes up and says we're a refereeing body and we bring in
live referees.
Live referees, yeah. And bring them in and the Premier League go, okay, you can do it. You know what I mean? It's never going to happen. You know what I mean? The PG and the thing is, the PG
live on VAR, live VAR pill. No, we couldn't.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't work. No.
Bleeding.
Fucking shut up, Emma. But no, like it's just not gonna happen. It's just I don't know. Like Jake says, how many times does Salah get fouled and nothing is given? Like
it's outrageous.
That one probably like I remember Salah getting fouled by Bernardo Silva. Do you remember when he was running down the main stand? So and Bernardo Silva literally grabs him around the throat and jockey backs him by the side. He looked like a fella falling off a horse. That's what he looked like, and no free, right? And then Salah against Spurs, where he's running and it's Davis, and he's pulling his short, and Salah's like, "Will you go away from me?" And Davis hits the deck. The linesman doesn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
And Paul Tierney from 50 yards away goes, "Oh, that's a free the other way," And it's them sort of things. It's that instead of just saying, "No, nothing in that," and the ball ran out. That's grand. Let the ball run out and give it a throw, right? It mightn't be for us, but fine. At least you haven't made the decision. And look, I'm sure if non-Liverpool fans watching this, and there's Arsenal fans that be in this chat, and maybe he can give us his input on what he thinks.
Just to throw it in, Gav, I think you're right. Like they're shy across the board. I've seen it in the United and West Ham game tonight. You know what I mean? The most blatant handball you'll ever see. Peter Walton and all saying it should have been a penalty, and it just gets waved away. Do you know what I mean? They're all bad. They're all poor, but I do genuinely think there's something a bit more than that when it comes to Liverpool, because you're looking at it. Someone said in the chat there, Alisson got booked for time wasting yesterday. How many times have we played teams when they've time wasted for 90 minutes and the keeper will get booked in the 92nd minute? Alisson doesn't even get a warning. Straight away, boom. People are saying Kanate got booked for kicking the ball away after the Gakpo fell. How many times have players kicking the ball away? He got it wrong, 100% he did. It was in the same motion, he got it and he lumped. So what, he was clearing the ball, happens all the time. So there's something definitely that's treated differently.
To be honest with you, Alisson gets booked for time wasting, right? And I can kind of see it going, yeah, right? But the thing is, you never see a fucking goalkeeper booked on 70, was it 70 odd minutes, 70, late 70s, whatever, getting booked, right? You never see that. Like when have you ever seen a goalkeeper around the 70th minute get done for time wasting? Like
the only time would be Emi Martinez for Villa, but he'd have spent fucking 10 minutes wasting time up till that point. Like,
but this is what I'm saying. Like I've gone to Anfield so many times over the years, right? When Liverpool have been good, bad, and different, and to be opposing goalkeepers, and they take a fucking age to do anything.
Yeah,
right, an age, and like someone said in the chat earlier, you don't see it until the 85th minute. So I don't think Alisson's booking is wrong, but the context of when it's done in the match Do you know what I mean? Like, if Alisson does that in the 10th minute, is he going to be done for time wasting? If he does that in 0-0, is it going to be done for time wasting? Because time wasting is time wasting, whether you're 1-0 up or 3-0 down. If you're wasting time, right, it doesn't matter the context of the game, that you're wasting it. And even things like that annoy me, where I'm going, there's no, like, I can't remember the last goalkeeper at Anfield booked before the 80th minute for time wasting. And I've watched Jordan Pickford at Anfield, right? You know what I mean? I've watched these goalkeepers at Anfield, and there used to be one that was terrible for it. And I'll think of the name in a minute. Like, they were just woeful from the 4th minute of games. Do you know what I mean? But look, we're probably going to end up talking about referees most weeks, and there's only a couple of weeks left in the season, so just bear with us, and then we'll start again in August. But let's get on. The game overall, we win it. We get the points, and the bigger talking points are probably what happened today with regards to Liverpool and where we stand. But we have to touch on the whole thing before the game. All right. In the run-up to this game, Premier League asked for, I think it was the Premier League, I don't think it was the FA, I think it was the Premier League. Yeah, asked for the British national anthem to be played, right? Before every game, because of the coronation of your man Charles, right? As soon as that happened, people were like, oh, what'll happen with Liverpool? Straight away, right? And that for me is enough justification for Liverpool to do what they done yesterday, because people know where Liverpool stand on this. They know how they feel about the hierarchy, you know, in that country, and there's multiple facets to it. I've seen people come out like Piers Morgan and all. He's a fucking dickhead, like, you know, going, oh, they're pathetic and they're this and that, right? But Liverpool, as a club, came out and said, we're going to play this, and basically said, we're going to play this because we were asked, but we don't know what reaction's going to happen.
We were told.
Right. And basically, we know what reaction's going to happen, but you've asked us to play it, so there we go. Now, I did see people saying it's a disgrace we're playing it at all, stuff like that. But the thing is, if you don't play it at all, you're going to get backlash. If you do play it, you know what the reaction is. You're going to get the same. Liverpool were never going to win in this. Never going to win in this. Keith. No, sorry, Emma. I'll come to you first. Anfield, for the game, it's played. The two teams are on the halfway line. And Anfield lets its voice be known. 1, you fully expected it. 2, what have you made of the backlash? Is it just the normal bullshit that happens all the time?
Normal bullshit. I don't listen to it because it happens every time we go to Wembley. It's been happening since the 70s, 80s. It's not. They've not just decided to start doing it recently.
Yeah.
This is going on years, and we all know why. Without going into the kind of economic decline and all this kind of stuff, I would fully back them. I mean, they're completely within their rights, and if anything, there should be more places around the northwest, possibly, of England that should be more supporting. And I have to say, it's not all fans. I've seen plenty of comments online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, where there's actually Manchester United fans, believe it or not, congratulating Liverpool for what they're doing. It's like we're the only fan base, or I won't say we, kind of Irish, whatever, but look, they obviously the Brits have impacted on us as well. But I think it's completely justified, completely and utterly justified. If a government or links to government like planned on like literally starving your city and starving everybody out of your city, why would you all of a sudden sing along to some national anthem that supports that in some way, shape, or form? The thing that I didn't like was when they zoomed in on Trent and they zoomed in on Henderson.
But this is what's always going to happen, Emma. Like, and people are like, "Oh, Trent clearly doesn't want to play for England anymore." I've never seen Trent sing the British national anthem.
No,
he lashed him over before for not singing it when he was playing.
This is
what
what
they're doing there is they're trying to create like a James McClean moment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's to turn everybody against Trent.
Yeah.
Right. You watch the Irish national anthem. Some players don't know. Some players don't even know the words to it. Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So whether he sings it or not, completely, it's always going to be a personal preference. Henderson sung it. I've not seen anybody, Liverpool fans or others, or you've seen others kind of congratulating for doing it, but I've not seen any Liverpool fans kind of backlash against them. But I guarantee you that's what Sky wanted. They wanted to put the two of them on camera to see. Then they even highlighted the fact that Robertson had his head bowed. Like, they're trying to create shy. Like, do you know what I mean? Just what they should have done is the camera should have been in the stand on the centre circle, and it shouldn't have fucking moved. That's what it should have done, instead of zooming in on these lads' faces, because it's completely a personal preference whether they sing that or not.
Yeah,
correct. But the thing is, right? Like Passio says there, Passio's not impressed with the fact that the club let this go ahead, and you're absolutely right. You're right. You know, like he says there, the club decided to play the anthem. There was no order to play. They should know what would happen. There was no order. I agree with you. There was no order to play it, but you know what's going to happen if they don't, right? And the thing is, right, and this is just my feeling on it. If Liverpool Football Club don't play their anthem yesterday, and I would have been all for them not playing it, by the way, absolutely. You know, if you want to say fuck you to the establishment, they're not playing it, right? We're playing our anthem before, and if you don't like it, fuck off. I'm completely with that, but I always try to see both sides. And my thing on this is that if they didn't play the anthem, right, it would have been just a free for all on Liverpool Football Club, right? The fan base gets it anyway. But the football club, everything about Liverpool Football Club would have been, they're this, that, they won't even play the anthem. I think the club, I'm not too sure, you're saying there wasn't an order, and I don't think there was, but I think the club were probably put in a position where you kind of have to fucking play it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It wasn't an order, but it was
it wasn't an order, but it was it was probably worded in a certain way, right?
It'll be the only club that won't, basically.
Yeah, and Red Steve says there, the club said we have to play it, feel free to boo it. And that's what came across to me, because Klopp was like, you know, well, we're going to do it. And the club even came out and worded the statement really cleverly, like, oh, we're going to play it. We don't know what the reaction's going to be, but we do, right?
What you want.
And if we didn't play that anthem yesterday, right, it would have been just... without having, I'm not saying without having a voice, it's very hard to word this, but you know what I mean, like, we wouldn't have had our reaction wouldn't have been shown. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it was played yesterday, the crowd over, like, I don't know what Brentford fans done, I think they were kind of singing along or whatever, but Liverpool fans let it known where their position is, and that's allowed. And I think that's a stronger showing from Liverpool fans and the club with regards to the statement that was put out, to say, we're playing it, we're not too sure what the reaction be when they really do, and then when we play it, this will come out. And people, like, I've seen people going, oh, Liverpool fans, it's pathetic. No, it's not pathetic. This is Liverpool on so many levels having a problem with the people in power in Britain, right? And the royal family and the whole lot, right? The hierarchy in England, England and Great Britain. It goes back so long. It goes away from football, right? The Hillsborough thing is a huge thing with regards to, it went right to the top where this was covered up. Right to the top, right? And not only that, you have the other political side of it then, where managed declines of the city and all this sort of stuff. And that goes right to the top. And Liverpool don't like it. I think Everton will play. Everton were away are away at Brighton, and I don't know what way Everton. But I can tell you now, if that was played at Goodison Park, I would expect a very similar reaction, because this isn't Liverpool Football Club and Liverpool fans only. This is a city in Liverpool, and the funny thing is, right? And Paul Gormley says it's freedom of speech. It absolutely is. And the freedom to have that speech, Paul, I think is why the club went, yeah, we'll play it, but just get ready, because you know what's coming. And we have to expect a backlash, because that's just the way the world works. But fuck them. Fuck them on that backlash. That's the way I think about it. If you want to have a moan about it, go ahead. Liverpool fans, the city of Liverpool, don't really give a fuck, because we know that a lot of people in Great Britain don't give a fuck about Liverpool. So what's the problem? Do you know what I mean? And it's so much more than Liverpool fans, and that's the biggest thing for me. And Liverpool had the right to do what they wanted there yesterday, fans, and they done it. And the people that are telling you they're pathetic and they're this, that, and the other, it'll be the same people on Monday and Tuesday giving out about the people in power in Great Britain, and people can't, like, Liverpool fans going about food banks and stuff like that, right? And never stop about it. They're probably one of the biggest in the country about it, because of the way that country's being managed. But the people telling Liverpool fans they're pathetic yesterday afternoon or yesterday evening are the same people on Tuesday and Wednesday, when they've no fucking football to watch, that'll be going on about, you know, the price of this, the price of that, Brexit, the health system, anything they can think of, they'll be giving out constantly about it, right? Until Liverpool fans pipe up and go, well, we'll give our voice. We're giving our voice to everything that's wrong in this country. But you just give out about it when it suits you. We'll take the hard road here. And Liverpool have taken the hard road for so long. So I wrote, listen, you might have something against what happened at Anfield yesterday. I had no problem with it. Keith, I don't think you had a problem with it. And if it happened again next year... Well, oh yeah, you can have your say. Yeah, go on.
I want me to say, because it sounded like you were moving on to something else.
Oh, I wouldn't dare.
No, very quickly, right, I won't, because it's just repeating everything you've said, and I think you put it very well there, Gav, to be honest, well done. Emmett hit the nail on the head with something there as well. Shame on all the bootlickers in the Northwest that decided to embrace this, because it's not just Liverpool. Liverpool are the ones that speak up against it. It's happened to a lot of cities in the UK, and shame on them. First off, I think the club handled it brilliantly, to be totally honest with you. They were put in a position that they had to do the anthem. People can say they weren't forced to do it. They were forced to do it. Let's be clear, they were. And they could have done a statement that said, we're playing the anthem and we want all fans to respect it. And I think that would have been like, whoa, hold on a minute.
No,
they didn't.
They
came out and they said, look, we're playing this. You do what you want. That's up to you. But we're playing it and I want you to do it. I think the way the fans reacted was brilliant. I agree with putting the cameras into the faces of players was a fucking disgrace. But this is being built up for days. When we knew this was happening, everybody knew what was going to happen here. It was going to be focus all on Liverpool. Everybody's going to pile in. And you can see it. Hillsborough's trending. Everything else is, all the bad stuff that's coming out is trending all over the place. And it's just an absolute disgrace. But Liverpool, the city, great people, they stick up for themselves. They're not afraid to stick up for themselves because nobody else will. People will give out about Liverpool doing an anthem, and next week we'll be singing Feed the Scousers, Bin Dippers, slagging poverty, mocking debts at Hillsborough, mocking Heysel. They will do everything to chip away at Liverpool, but expect Liverpool to toe the party line for epoxy national anthem. No, Liverpool done brilliant yesterday, and fair play to them. Do it again. People may not like that, but that's my take.
But the funny
thing that you're saying is that they don't mind taking the welfare, right? So unemployment is higher in Manchester, and there are poorer parts of England than Liverpool. Yeah. And the biggest welfare collectors in the UK are actually the royal family. Yeah. So they're paid for by the taxpayer. So
there you go.
But the thing is, like, they've no. They don't realise their surroundings at all, or they don't really give a fuck, right? Because in a time of like, austerity, really, and without getting too far away from football, but in times of austerity where people can't afford to pay rents, mortgages, food, you see people and they're out and they're working, but they're like, by the time I get to work and back and have a lunch, I have no fucking money left, and they're going around in golden carriages and they're fucking paying millions to fucking carry a brick around the place and all mad stuff. Like, they just, like, nobody at all says, right, we know you're billionaires, right, because of you're the head of Great Britain, but show some sort of fucking class about this. I know you're, and listen, it's got thousands of years, wherever the fucking is, as being kings and queens of Great Britain and all that. I get that, right? That's their thing, right? But I think it's a real kick in the teeth for everyone in the country when, and I'm saying this where, say, for argument's sake, Ireland are in a very similar position to Great Britain at the moment. They're so closely tied, it's ridiculous. If they announced a new president in Ireland tomorrow and he was going around in a fucking, golden chariot, people would be going, what the fuck are you this fella doing? We can't fucking feed our kids in this, and there'd be murder over it. But it's like, the easier thing to do is have a go at people that just say no to this shit. And Liverpool fans seem to be the biggest voice. And, it's a certain type of person that has an issue with it, right? And I think when you look across media and stuff like that, and people going, this is this and this is that and this is pathetic and stuff like that, look who they are. Do you know what I mean? And then there's other people that are just blindly, like, Rule Britannia, and that's fucking fine as well, if that's your thinking. But freedom of speech will always be there, and that's all Liverpool fans are doing. Exercising their freedom of speech. And when you go to a football stadium, you are allowed exercise freedom of speech, right? unless it's racist, homophobic, whatever it might be. Liverpool fans didn't do any of that. You see. You just booed something because what it stood for. Do you know what I mean? And it's as simple as that. So look, I think I don't know. I won't speak for the other lads here or anybody else in the podcast, but speaking for myself yesterday, I applauded what happened at Anfield yesterday, and if they done it next week, I'd applaud it again. You know, because at the end of the day, they have every right to do it, and they've very good reasoning to do it. And and my big thing is that there's so many more people in that country that have the same reasons to do it as Liverpool fans, and don't. And Liverpool fans seems to be the ones that's the issue. But look, we could go on.
Like, it's even some of the most patriotic and people in the UK. They don't come from the likes of your Chelseas or your Baths. Or, like, do you know what I mean? I'm so sure they're patriotic, but your stereotypical real patriotic person generally comes from a poor background. In the UK, when you see them, the most staunch with their, you go on holidays, you see them with their Union Jack shorts or their tattoos. All that. Like their communities are affected by this as well, but yet they're giving it large about Liverpool.
Yeah,
Like, they can't see the woods for the trees. Like, do you know what I mean? They seriously need to. I would say the majority of people that are complaining and saying it's a disgrace don't understand why Liverpool do it.
LFC Monty says, Gav, stop speaking for yourself, so disingenuous. Well, I can only speak for myself, really. I can't speak for everybody else.
But it goes what we're thinking. And anyway, do you know what I done, right? I was remember them gammons that when the players used to take the knee and these cabbages used to put their videos on Twitter of them booing, standing beside the telly booing. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
all
they
these
were great.
wallies. I was doing that yesterday when the thing. I joined in the boo. I was getting down beside the telly just so I could feel part of it all. And I was boo, waving me little tricolour. I was all over it. Thought it was great. Fair play to them. They done the right thing. Move on.
Moving on.
I wasn't saying you move on. I mean society move on.
Yeah, well, we'll move on anyway. Liverpool got the 3 points, and then today's games. And in our Telegram group, there was someone asked, might have been yesterday, the day before, what's the odds on an Arsenal West Ham double? And I remember looking at it going, I'm not replying to that because I've these real things where if I say, oh, I think it'll happen, it won't. You jinx it, you know what I mean? Like, I hate during games where people say things like, oh, you know, I think we'll win this, and then you can see, and you're like, you fucking jinxed it. Or the worst one is that when you're actually, when the thing is, like, you know, when you're watching other teams that not Liverpool, and you're hoping for a result, and you're like, it's always United, isn't it? And you're like, oh, you know, United are all over the place here, and then bang, United score, and you're like, oh, you fucking jinxed it. And I hate that, so I didn't. But Keith, what were the odds for you of an Arsenal West Ham double? Because I think it was a really tough game for Arsenal today, and I just didn't know what West Ham would turn up. And you don't really know what United team would turn up. But were you confident going into today that them results would happen?
Yeah, to be honest with you, like, this was a weekend that I had penciled in where I could see a little bit of carnage happening. Just because West Ham away at 7 o'clock, do you know what I mean, in the evening, after we had a tough game there a couple of weeks ago, do you know what I mean? Like, when they're on form, they're not a bad side. Now, they don't have a great record against them, but it was one that I thought was a banana skin for Manchester. You know, listen, I think United are getting away with murder. I think they're garbage. I think they're fucking brutal. They're having the best season ever, but I genuinely think they're absolutely out of puff. I think Casemiro is one of these players that, remember a few years ago, you'd have them and they're the best signing of all time, and about 6 weeks later, they're going to shy. I think he's absolutely run. He looks goosed, him.
And he's had 20% of the season off through fucking suspension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think he's really, really struggling at the moment. Now, I know
8 to 1. 8 to 1 the double was.
8 to 1.
8.8. I looked it up when that person in the Telegram asked. 8.8 to 1.
8.8 to 1. Like, I'm looking at that and I'm saying, right, United away, definitely a goer. And Newcastle, look, I think Newcastle are going to fall apart. That's my prediction. I think the Big Sam bounce happens now on Saturday or whenever.
I think that I really eyed up that Leeds versus Newcastle one, yeah.
Yeah, I think that genuinely, I look at that now and I'm like, that's a banana skin right there. And if that happens, the thing about Newcastle, right? I spoke about muscle memory earlier about Liverpool just need to be in there and get through these games. Boom, 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 boom. Newcastle don't have that muscle memory. And while they're a rich club, they've not got a team of winners. Do you know what I mean? Their coach is very inexperienced. He isn't a winner. Their players, in general, they've bought the likes of Burnley and Brighton, Aston Villa. You know, they've not bought
Everton.
Everton. Yeah, there you go, Everton. Even the likes of Bruno Guimaraes as well. Like, well, he's a good player. He's a fantastic player. I don't look at him and think he has the minerals to drag them in. And I think Newcastle now, and I'm not looking at them losing to. I think Leeds beat them. I think you're going to see a few draws from them. I think the arse is going to fall out. They play Brighton as well. Don't they play Brighton the week after? I think they play Leeds and then Brighton.
Yeah, and Brighton are in a better position
Yeah.
for top four than we are.
Well, but I think that's going to be a draw, and I think that takes Brighton now. I think this could all play into Brighton. They play they don't play United.
Brighton have Arsenal and City as well, I think.
They've Arsenal and City. Yeah, I think Brighton will just miss out, but I think they'll take something off Newcastle as well. I think Newcastle could be the ones that fall away. Manchester United have handy fixtures, and they've 3 homes, I think, don't they? So that probably will be enough to do them. But then Chelsea, you wouldn't expect them to do one, but United are garbage. They're fucking brutal.
45 league goals they've scored this season.
Who? United?
Manchester United.
And they've conceded 40 as well, haven't they?
Yeah, they've enough. I think someone said they have 45 goals, which is mad. Arsenal fan circle challenges any flowers or any talking Arteta. I've said it. He's done a great job this season. I still think he's a bit weird, but I think he's done a really good. I think the only thing that's let Arteta down is I don't think he trusted the squad enough. I think there was games there lesser games where he could have trusted the squad a bit more and had his better players at optimum for bigger games, if you get me. I think he stuck to 12, 13 players an awful lot when he was going at it. And that's my only kind of thing on them. I still hope they win it. I still hope something miraculous happens and they win it. But no, they've had a really, really good season. But they'll have a tougher next season. There's no doubt about it. They'll have a tougher next season. Brian says United's away form is truly appalling. If only we weren't in a coma for most of the season. Casemiro's 31. He's played over 500 club games. United are such dopes, he says, Brian. United just look at the team to me like, well, if you get beyond 55, 60 minutes against them, they're in trouble. It feels like their legs go a little bit, and they run out of ideas. They panic a little bit. Sas Coppoy says Rashford
injuries have killed them as well.
Yeah, Rashford 16 league goals. Next highest is Bruno with 6 for United. So, but Emma, Newcastle, United, both lose today. What are you making of both of those? Because look, we're saying all this in the pretense that Liverpool need to win the last 3 games. We need to go to Leicester, we need to beat Villa, and we need to go to Southampton and win them all. So, when you look at what they have left, both teams have left one more game than us, I think. If we win the 3, do you feel that there's enough there for us to get into top 4 based on what these two are at the moment?
I think if we go and win all 3, we make top 4. Yeah, definitely, because there's points to be dropped there. Like you said, Leeds, like that's Allardyce obviously welcoming his old club to Ellen Road. Ellen Road on a Saturday morning at 12:30. It's going to be absolutely hopping. They have Brighton then after that, and even Leicester could be still scrapping for their lives when they come to play them, second last game of the season. Chelsea got a win under their belt at the weekend, and they still to play both of them. So, like, I know
at Stamford Bridge as well.
We wouldn't want to be relying on Chelsea, but I mean,
well, Chelsea home to Newcastle, but away to United.
Chelsea are at home to Newcastle,
and away to United.
Yeah.
Home to Newcastle last day of the season. So dream thing is that we finish up on the same points as United, but we go through on goal difference, and that 7-0 comes back to haunt them a little bit again.
So you think there is enough there?
I think if we win our 3, they're going to drop points. United have to have one eye on the FA Cup, which they also won't win. They've lost Martinez at the back. Who else have they lost? Varane. They've lost others as well. I can't remember now off the top of my head. I don't think they have enough in terms of the bodies. Like when you're bringing on Martial trying to impact the game.
I think the biggest
trouble.
They have got injuries. I think the biggest thing is that they're playing Luke Shaw centre half, and I think he's done a decent job at centre half. But I think he knows if he loses Luke Shaw or has to go somewhere, you're in Harry Maguire territory. You know,
I think
he
should have been sent off against Brighton for the handball.
Yeah, and then
second yellow.
Yeah, you know, and it just that's what it feels like. You know, United feel like they're running out of legs a little bit. Like somebody said there earlier, they've been playing 3 games a week since Christmas, and it's finally catching up with them. Sorry,
that excuse was wheeled out on the match day. Manchester United have played the most in the top 5 leagues. When Liverpool were doing that, it wasn't given as an excuse.
Yeah, I know, but the thing is, like, he does say the effect of playing 3 games a week basically since Christmas has finally caught up with them. And I do feel that. I feel when I watch United, like, I think when I got to 70 minutes today, I went, West Ham will win this. Because United just looked like they dwindle after, for me, 60. But when it gets to 70 and then the panic sets in, I think they actually lose what they're trying to do. With regards to Newcastle, I think they have a little bit more of a favourable run in. You know, I think the games against the teams we're talking about, they have to play Brighton, don't they? And they have to play Chelsea. I think they might fall at the right times. You know, if Brighton were to draw a game or whatever, it might rule them out, and Brighton might drop off a little bit. But I think it's hard to look beyond Liverpool winning if they win their 3 games, not making them into this.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Because they both play at the weekend. I think United are home to Wolves. I think at the weekend, Newcastle play
Saturday morning
away at Leeds, and then if one of them drops points there. Right, Liverpool play at Leicester on a Monday, so Liverpool will be going into that Monday going, if we win this, potentially could go into the top 4. Do you know what I mean? Then you're in there, and I know they might have a game in hand and stuff like that. Jake reckons Wolves can go to Old Trafford and get a result. Anyone can go to Old Trafford and get a result. There's no doubt about that. But Liverpool have to look after themselves, and I would have rather played first. I'd have rather us playing Saturday morning at 12:30 against Leicester. You know what I mean? And I would because
I think Leeds on a Saturday morning for Newcastle could be a big one.
I know, but I
think in terms of kind of psyche.
Yeah, I'm more confident over Liverpool side going in and going, let's put their fucking dart in first.
We're shy at 12:30, by the way.
I know we are, but I don't think we're great at.
Well, then Friday night, Keith. Gav would have preferred if we played Friday night.
Friday night. But I just think if either of them drop points on, I think I'm not saying I'm not confident going to Leicester and winning, because I don't think Leicester are any good. But I'm just like, you know what I mean? It's a bit fucking weird. But having said that, if Leicester go and win at Fulham on Monday, like if you look at this scenario, right? Leicester win at Fulham, Brighton beat Everton, okay, and the third game that day is Forest beat Southampton.
Yeah.
Everton will be 4 points away from safety with 3 games left. Our next game is Man City, right? Yeah. So that would then mean that, you know, Leicester could be looking going, you know what? We get beaten by Liverpool. It's up to Everton now to go and take 6 from the last 9 in order to stay up above us. We only need probably 1 win somewhere. Brighton, they win, but they might get a draw somewhere. You know, I just think tomorrow is massive in the Premier League. It's fucking massive.
It really
because
is.
It's going to set up teams where they're on the brink of, like, put it to you this way, right? If Leicester were to win and Brighton were to win and Forest were to win, okay, that Leeds versus Newcastle game is monstrous for Leeds.
Exactly.
Monstrous.
Adds to the team,
right?
Exactly.
Because they be looking going, hold on, they've all fucking won. They're all 4 clear of Everton. We're 1 clear of Everton. We have to win. And then that becomes, it's just so many things in around that. But I think we'd have to win our 3 games. Let us know in the chat if you think we can make top 4. And I'll ask the question, presuming we win our 3 games, do you think Liverpool can make top 4? By that I mean, will Newcastle or United drop enough for us to get in there? So Liverpool win their 3, do you feel that we could make the top 4? So just a yes or no, and I'll kind of take a count on it as we go. Eunice, that's my feeling, Gav. Need Leicester to win so they don't go try hard against us. You see, I think Leicester might pick their moments then. Leicester might go 4 points clear of them. They've only fucking 4 games left. The next one is City. You know, they might pick and choose their battles a bit. Yeah, they might pick and choose their battles a little bit. Lads, Leeds are taking points off. Dermot reckons Leeds are taking points off Newcastle. Laszlo says too many variables. There's so many variables. I actually love it. Like, I think if you see those 3 wins tomorrow, Leicester, Brighton, Nottingham Forest, Everton are gone.
Yeah.
They're 4 points off. They have a game in hand. That game in hand is Man City. And, you know, they'd have been beaten by Brighton. They'd have Man City, Wolves, and people think, Everton go and beat Wolves. I don't think so. Wolves went and beat a really good Villa side yesterday. Wolves are just about found their feet now. Do you know what I mean? So it's there is loads of variables.
The worry is the teams that are playing with their flip flops on. Like, so Wolves don't really have much.
But there's not many because of how tight it is down there and how tight it is in the top 6. There's probably only 3 or 4 teams now. Chelsea, Palace,
and Wolves.
Right? Wolves maybe,
Fulham,
but you know what I mean.
10th. They play United last day of the season.
It's there's loads of variables there. We will be going through it on a week by week basis. Obviously, we'll be here next Sunday looking at results that have gone on, looking forward to Leicester. But finish us off, transfer stuff, because it's a different name not every day, but you know, my favourite one of the week was some lad that used to be with Wolfsburg is going to be the new director of football, and people are like, I fucking knew they do this. You know, all he's a bleeding this and he's that. He's a yes man to Klopp, and I'm like, who is this fella? Do you know what I mean? Like, people going on as if they knew everything about him. Can't even remember his name now. He was he was previously with Wolfsburg. He's been linked now to Liverpool as a director of football. I'll ask his boat. He's not about him, Keith.
All I know is people don't want him because he sold Victor Osimhen for 3 million. Like,
oh, okay, right, fair enough. Emma, know what about him?
I think he only served the ban not so long ago for criticising a referee, so he'll fit in well with Klopp. So nice. No, I haven't a clue about him.
Can we be honest and just say,
never even heard his name before?
Nobody knows that.
Never heard him.
You know, I haven't. In fairness, disappointingly, I haven't seen anyone on social media come out with an absolute breakdown of this man, and who he is, and like what he's done and what he can bring. You know the way you usually see it. A name comes up in the next 24 hours later, someone knows everything about him, the whole inside track. Haven't heard it, so watch that space on that. Alexis McAllister, at Brighton, we've seen loads of stuff going on about that. But I did see a Brighton journalist today kind of rubbish it and say people. Now he clarified it, and I should have really taken his name, but he clarified it by saying, I'm not saying Alexis McAllister won't leave Brighton, but talk of advanced talks with Liverpool and a fee agreed and blah blah blah, he says, is way off the mark. There hasn't been any contact between Liverpool and Brighton, and they don't expect there to be. And what he means by that is Liverpool haven't rang and said, listen, we'll be down during the week to talk about it. Emmet, is it just another name? Do you think there's anything to it? I think he does leave Brighton in the summer. And
I think he does. I think some of the fees being they're like ridiculous, like 80 million plus add-ons. But then the next tweet you see is 60 million plus add-ons. I think that the story is that there's an agreement with his camp, with his people, let's say, but there's nothing. There's been no contact with Brighton. Look, I think 80 million is an awful lot.
Well, the talk was player, 80 plus million, including the add-ons. So that could be 60 plus add-ons, which could go to 80. Because we've seen it with Darwin Núñez, 64 rising to 80.
Yeah,
you know, sort of way.
I think that's the ballpark, is in around about the 60, 65. I think for him. We don't know anything about his contract. It's only until summer 2025. Brighton have an option to extend for 1 year after that. We don't know whether there's a release clause in there or, but I just think, and if it's going to start, look, we all know if it's going to turn into silly money, they'll probably walk away. But I think they'll probably have their homework done. You'd like to think that some of the rumours are true.
Loads of different stuff. Garmack wants Alexis McAllister, Gravenberch and Trent in the middle of midfield next season. Wizard feels that the top 4 race is holding up everybody. That's a good point. You know, and it's
Brighton still have an awful lot to play for.
Loads to play for,
get into Europe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and as good as Brighton have been this season, like getting into Europe is monstrous for that club. Like, as a club and their history, it's monstrous for them. So, it's a bit like the Bellingham stuff. People going, oh, it's all agreed. Yeah. He probably knows where he's going, but nothing will be absolutely finalised till we know what's going on that. Like, he's not going to go, listen.
There's a team that could sign Ivan Toney, and they could do with him. Brighton.
Yeah. Someone like that, into Europe and stuff.
Well, they're bringing in Joe Pedro from Watford for 20 million.
But the thing is, like, Bellingham's not going to walk away from a Bundesliga title race to go, listen, can we just announce what I'm doing next season while this is going on? Doesn't happen. But I don't know. I genuinely don't know. And I know I say this around rows of contracts. Like, I've seen so many numbers bandied about. I really like him as a player. There's no doubt about that. Really, really like him as a player. I was only saying to Kev O'Sullivan the other night, and I thought Kev was going to rip me head off when I said it, but he didn't. I said, Kev, there's actually a bang of Wijnaldum off him. And he goes, 100%. What do you mean? I said, well, he kind of started more forward, didn't he, as a player? He kind of moved back a bit, progresses with the ball brilliantly, gets involved to get the ball back brilliantly, presses, very rarely loses it, good in tight spaces. Not aesthetically the same as Wijnaldum, but that sort of engine on him and that sort of work rate on him and awareness around the pitch. I really like him. I'd still be a bit 80 million, including add-ons, is a bit. You could go 30 or 40 more here and do Bellingham. That's always my feeling on everything now.
The wages will not be the same. The wages are what's killing that. No. The wages are what's killing that deal.
Yeah.
If Liverpool, because we said it before, we knew the price was going to be the price. The wages must be the stumbler on that.
I think the talk of Milner going the opposite direction could kind of be a segue into talks about that. And then he holds, McAllister holds Lallana in very high regard as well. I saw a thing he did where they just named players, and he said, like, whatever player said magician, goal scorer, and then when he said Lallana, he says, I could say so much, but he just said top player. But I'd say Lallana's probably in his ear as well to go there.
Yeah. Darren Dunbar will go and get Tyler Adams for 30 million when Leeds get relegated. Great option to cover Fabinho. Like, people are going on about, was Milner, like, Madge Apple says, any chance Milner is a sweetener? Well, the thing is, like, I know Milner's out of contract, but it's still the same process as a player you're selling anyway, because he's free to talk to clubs abroad on a free contract, but he's, realistically in the Premier League you're not until your contract's up. But if Milner goes there, I'm kind of holding out on talking about Milner until I know what's happening, because I'll do a full show on James Milner, no problem. Absolutely, an hour and a half on James Milner and what he's done at Liverpool. 2.5 hours.
I was saying I was listening to the Anfield Rapid. They were saying, it was actually the girls after the game yesterday. They were saying, isn't it such a shame that he doesn't have a song?
Yeah.
Because the Aston Villa game, if it's going to be his last, like, they'll sing the Bobby song for Bobby's last game. What are they going to do for Milner? And he said, well, he is so ordinary. If you started singing a song, he'd probably tell you to shut up anyway. So.
Yeah. And look, the talk is that he's close to moving to Brighton. And if he does go there, I wish him all the best. If he stays at Liverpool in some sort of capacity, and I know people will go rasher when you say this, I'm absolutely fine with that. But I think it does make sense if he moves on. Because Kev was saying to me the other day, he goes, Gav, if he plays 30 minutes, if he plays 60 minutes on a Saturday and maybe 30 on a Wednesday, he's getting a game a week at Brighton. He's not getting that at Liverpool. And at 37, while you understand your role in a team, you want to get as many minutes as you can, especially for the likes of James Milner. There's other 36-year-olds out there, 37, who go, listen, I'm just fucking having the crack here. Do you know what I mean? I might play once a month. But he really wants to play and wants to keep at that level for so long. And Brighton are making a very clever move to do this, because I think he's perfect for the young players they bring in all the time, because that's what they do. They bring in younger players, and they develop them on. And I think Milner would be a great example to them. And also, it will allow him, I think, to probably move into the coaching in a less high-profile way, because you know how it works. If he goes on to the coaching staff at Liverpool lose the game, but like, that's because James Milner was there. You know what I mean? The James Milner write a book, well, it's all his fault. You know the sort of way. So, but if he goes, I think he's fucking being brilliant for Liverpool. And people can argue with that if you want. I don't really care. And if he doesn't, find a way. But I think him going actually makes players slot into different positions in the pecking order of Liverpool, and I think it makes it a little bit easier as well when we look forward. Kane Williams was just throwing a £1 super chat and said nothing. So thanks for that, Kane. If you want to say something now without a super chat, we'll read it out for you. There's no other real names going around. The McAllister one's the big one. Gravenberch is still being thought around. Anything you've seen, Keith, before we go?
No, not really.
Zelensky.
I was saying Zelensky.
I see it during the week. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it has to be a wind-up, doesn't it? Yeah, no, do you know what? It's quiet, and I think I prefer when it's quiet. I've no doubt Liverpool are going to do business, and we were speaking to Shawnee in WhatsApp, and Shawnee was saying he doesn't know, he doesn't have the faith that there'll be any sort of money put into it, but they have to with the players going on. I think you hear on it with Milner leaving, if he does choose to leave, it does even clarify it more. You know, I thought Milner stays on, you might need 2 midfield players, but I think it changes now. I think you'd be looking at a bigger rebuild now because of that. Silent Killer says Ignacio, yes, that was seeing that one all right. It'd be interesting. I don't know. Left-sided centre back. I don't know. He's a good player. He's a young player. There's a lot of good players out there that were linked with tenuously. I see Timber as well was getting linked.
Dave. Apparently, LFC says Dave Maddock is saying Tchouaméni, but is that because of apparent falling out between Tchouaméni and Ancelotti? But Ancelotti won't be at Madrid next season. If he goes out of the Champions League, he won't be at Madrid. So Tchouaméni is not to worry about.
But I think they realised Tchouaméni is a classic example of a player that was maybe
Simel. Fucking
Simel, he's still waiting on the plane. Yeah. I think Tchouaméni is a player that was they went in and panic bought him when the Mbappe thing fell through, and they paid too much money for him. And the expectation, especially at somewhere like Madrid,
he's quality.
For a midfield player. He is a good player, but he's not an £80 million player.
I think he played for 20. France against Ireland recently.
Brilliant.
And Shawnee was at it, and Shawnee said, "My God, that fella is a machine." You know what I mean? When he's seen him up close, he really likes it.
He's a smashing player, but that's like, so it could be a thing that they're looking to move him on because they've spent too much money. If you can get him on a reduced sort of fee, cracking player. He's ideal for Liverpool. And I said that last year when we were linked with him. He'd be ideal. He's the exact profile of what we need. So maybe a Gravenberch makes a lot of sense as well to me. He's the distressed asset that you get that was so highly rated, and people go on about his attitude. I don't think there's any major attitude problems with him, to be totally honest. And it reminds me of the Coutinho, you know what I mean? Like, he goes into a big club, doesn't make it through, and you can get him a little bit. I'm not saying he's the same player, but it's the same sort of deal. I think there could be a bit of movement in Gravenberch as well. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. But there's not a ridiculous amount, and that's good. You know what I mean? Because it's fucking wrecks your head when you're reading all this stuff.
Kevin Ball says, Keith, have you seen Andre lad in Brazil meant to be very good?
Peter Andre. There's a few Andres. Which one are we talking about?
You have to tell him which one it is. It's not Peter Andre. Red Steve, there's some lovely names coming in here. Red Steve mentions Feck here. Luke O'Shea reckons Conor Plianka. Tchouaméni is class, I would snatch him up if we were back on the market, says Bejan. Doak will get more next season, he feels, the reclaimer. LFC Monty, I think he's gone all in. Zielinski, Renato Sanchez, Hassam Ouar. Whatever happened to him? Is he still at Nice?
Yeah, he's Leon.
Leon. Samel Sabrosa, Clint Dempsey incoming redemption window. He says, I'm gonna get Emmett's feelings on this just before we leave. But before we go, and before I remember, there's 500 audios watching now, 200 or so likes. So if you're here and you're watching, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed. We're all right. We do these shows nearly every night of the week. Loads of different lads on during the week, loads of different views on loads of different things regarding Liverpool and football in general. Subscribe, hit that icon, bell icon as well, and as soon as we set up the show, it comes up to tell you we are going to be live that evening. The charity is for breast cancer research. I'd like to thank Jake Semester, who sent me a lovely prize during the week, and I forgot to tell him it arrived. I'm telling you now, Jake, because I've just remembered. We have got a couple more sponsors in. We need about 10 or 12 more sponsors for the day. It's only 5 or 6 weeks away now. If you want to sponsor any part of the golf day, it ranges from 100 to 150 euros. I'm going to tell you that. lfcdaytrippers@gmail.com, and we will do anything we can to help you. If you want to donate a prize, but you want to give money and we have to buy it, or you want to sponsor holes or long drives, whatever it might be, if you can help us in any way, please do so. If you can't and you want to still donate, the link is in the description, or you can share it amongst your family, your friends, colleagues, wherever it might be. It's going to be a great day. I think there's 4 events lined up now between now and the end of August for the girls that are running this Dublin Marathon for breast cancer research. The money they're going to raise, I think we're closing on $3,000 raised already. Our target is 20, and these events is what bumps it up massively. Do you know what I mean? Like, we could come out with these events with sitting on 15, 16, and then it's the last push through to October to try to get it done before the marathon. So, want to mention LFC women who beat Man City today, 2-1. I think they were beaten by Chelsea last week, but they beat Man City today. Huge win. Chris Brack's 40th part weekend and everything, and they go and do that for him. So he's had a lovely weekend, I'd say. Jake says at least it didn't smash in the post. I haven't opened the box yet. I hope it didn't. If it did, the boot of my car would smell like whatever drink is in it, to be quite honest with you. But look, Luke O'Shea, €2.49 super chat says, great stuff, lads. Thanks a million, Luke. And as I said, anything we raise from super chats between now and we're finished raising this 20 grand will go towards the girls as well. Like the show, if you want Liverpool to get in the top 4, nice work by Ashley.
I like that.
I like that.
Yeah,
we're into that sort.
Should do more of that.
Yeah, we should do. Yeah, like if your favourite colour is red, sort of thing. But listen, it's a big campaign we have. We always stick with it till we get to it, and by donating or getting in contact with us and giving us a few quid towards prizes or prizes themselves, it really, really helps, trust me, because the golf day is all paid for and the players all pay for it themselves. Like, they all pay for it themselves. They aren't getting anything back for paying for it. Like, they don't get an extra. They're willing to pay for their golf, their food, their prizes. They've all paid for their own stuff. So every penny we make on the day, whether that's raffles at the golf or raffles that night, will go towards these girls. So it's really important, but if you can help us, please do. Like if you breathe oxygen. Oh, that's a new one. That's a good one. Really good, that one. But Emma, before we go, I'll give you the last word on transfers at the moment. Alexis McAllister, Gravenberch, we've seen it. That guy in Nashio's being touted. There's just loads of names floating around. I don't think there's anything massively solid in them. McAllister's probably the most solid of them all. The whole Bellingham stuff during the week was like, oh, he's a Madrid player. And that hasn't really developed during the week either. So where do you stand in the law before we head?
Nobody knows nothing is where I stand on it. I still don't believe the Bellingham. That's not me being kind of hanging on to it. I still don't believe the deal to Real Madrid, because they almost had personal terms agreed on Wednesday. That's some amount of discussions that are going on personal terms, and they're the most important terms. Normally, you hear the fee has been agreed with the club, the fee has been agreed with the player, and now they have to go to the club. But they've agreed it with Real Madrid, and now they have to trash out personal terms. I'm not sure Bellingham wants to go there. I still think Bellingham wants to come to Liverpool. There was only talk a week before that of him signing a new deal with an 80 million buyout clause next summer. So I think it's all bullshit until we hear something solid. I'm liking like he said, the kind of quiet time, because when a silly season fully comes in, your phone is now in your hand. But,
well, it'll start as soon as you know if Liverpool are in the top 4 or not.
Yeah.
That's when it's going to go.
I think we're in a decent enough position. Somebody mentioned earlier on there, Carvalho on loan as kind of make way for Alexis McAllister. Then there's the Ugarte links. I think Carvalho might do well at Sporting as and it is very similar to the Premier League. Although I don't know whether he's burned his bridges with the Portuguese, kind of stepping away from the under 21s and stuff like that. So, look, I definitely do think we bring in people. I think there's probably some sort of an agreement in place in terms of investment, but they're not going to keep their powder dry on that until they have business done. It'd be stupid to come out and announce an investment before doing any business. But I think with Milner going, I thought we needed 2 to 3. If Milner goes, I think it's definitely going to have to be 3 that we're probably going to need to bring in the summer.
Would you do
Definitely
2 plus Trent and then just bring in a new right back?
No.
Does anyone see
Come here,
Trent's future in midfield?
No, it's 3 midfielders. It's definitely 3 midfielders.
I don't want to rain on the parade, but look, and I'm not. Look, Keith, you're involved in football, and other people that watch are involved in football. It's a hell of a lot more he has a hell of a lot more to learn to playing in midfield, and I think some of that was kind of shown up a little bit against Brentford. I don't think it was his best game in there. He was pressured an awful lot. He gave some sloppy passes. Although I thought he did look excellent against Fulham with his turn and all that kind of stuff. So he is learning, but I don't think he's the answer yet. So I still think we need to bring in your regular 3 midfielders.
Yeah.
And he can be an option, all right, but I don't think he's ready to be the answer just yet.
Yeah. I'm glad that Antwango mentioned Ugarte because, or Ugarte, whatever you way. What way would you pronounce that?
Ugarte.
Ugarte.
Oh, Ugarte. Okay, I'll try to say that from now on. I'm definitely going to say Ugarte, right? But just
whatever. I might be wrong, Gav. You know what I mean? Just
I don't think you are. You're half South American at this stage. I was glad you mentioned that though, Antwango, because Jesus Christ, the handbrakers that were being thrown on Ugarte during the week, or Ugarte, as Keith likes to call him, and the handbrakers being called on him was unbelievable. Like it was like, oh, he's there, he's done, and it was like not happening. It was just like, oh, fuck off, lads, please stop annoying me. David Mattis says, love you guys, listen to Thaw and Blood Red, but Daytrippers is far away my favourite. I don't listen to a lot of Blood Red. I listen to the Anfield Raptor deadly. Don't have a lack of knowledge. Stop you from sharing your opinion. This is the internet, damn it, says Sass Cowboy. Let me see. Avo says these lads aren't here for anything more than talking Reds and helping others who need it. Just hit like it's a worthy cause. Yeah, they all are worthy causes that we do, in fairness, and we do stick with them until we get them. Let me see. There's loads going on there. Gav, question. If Trent is injured, do Liverpool go back to a 4-3-3 formation? Or did he sign someone else to play inverted as well? You see, that's the question. That's the thing. If Trent wasn't there, what would you be doing? You'd be going in a right back and you'd be putting another midfielder in. It's just a tactic. I don't think it's a position. I think it's a tactic. He'll still line out with 3 defenders and Trent. And, you know, I still want 3 midfielders. I've liked what I've seen from Trent there in phases. I think Emmett's right. I think there's much tougher games where you could try this and Trent could look exposed, and only because he's learning the position, right? But I'm much more comfortable if you tell me we're bringing in 3 midfielders next season, and if Trent wants to keep doing what he's doing, absolutely fine. And it'll actually work better if you bring in midfielders that have them legs and stuff like that. So,
do you not think if he's in midfield, he doesn't have to worry about the half right back shite that he's doing as well? That's where I think there's a little bit of...
Yeah, but the whole thing of him being in midfield from that right back position is the tactic that upsets other teams.
Yeah,
like if you go in, you say we're playing 4-3-3 with Trent in the tree, they'll just match up against them. But now they can't. Now Liverpool and Indy playing a box. I'm just going, Trent, you're in there. There's still 3 lads buzzing around the place, but you're in there as well, and they don't know what to do with them. They don't know whether to get the fella from out wide to come in with them, or to leave the fella out wide and they're outnumbered in midfield. They don't know what to do. Whereas if you go in with Trent just in there and you're standard right back somewhere, I think, I'm not saying he couldn't influence games. I just think the whole, not even surprise element of it, but just the outnumbering and the clever outnumbering that they're doing on the pitch is lost a little bit. I'm not saying he couldn't play midfield, but I'm much more comfortable with us bringing 3 midfielders in and then looking at it and saying, because if it doesn't work, Keith, if you bring in a right back and you put Trent and 2 midfielders and it doesn't work, then you're going, Trent probably has to go back over there and now we're short. And we are short. Like, so it's I'm sure we'll have loads of fucking discussions about
3
this.
midfielders, a right back, a centre back, a right winger, a centre forward, and 2 reserve keepers. Happy out.
And the rest in jellies.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I think that's us done. I said an hour and 4 minutes. It's an hour and 14. Sorry, Keith. We just get too excited. We'll try it next week. Emma,
next week either, but at least you'll
at least we're trying. Emma, anything else before we go?
Just there is, and I hope it doesn't rumble on for another 15 minutes.
Yes,
Um,
love it.
Oh,
Salah and Alisson. So Alisson's 100th clean sheet,
yeah,
and then more records for Salah.
yeah,
Unbelievable. The real king.
yeah,
Yeah, we had 2 kings at Anfield. We don't need another one.
yeah. Sas Copper reckons Keith is selling 14 against this summer. We will do a show during the summer when before we sign anyone or sell anyone, we'll do a show trying to predict. But yeah, Keith will be selling half the club. Mighty Red and everything will be getting the P45. Right? That's how Keith
Is he
rolls.
still there? I thought he was gone.
He might be. He's going to Brighton on a free.
Yeah. Part of the McAllister deal.
Yeah, sweetener. Keith, anything else before we go? Would you like to tell us what music you're listening to this week?
No, I said it last week. I'm Marvin Gaye up at the moment. Still, yeah, I love Motown as well. So I'm going for a little bit of all the Curtis Mayfield and all that sort of stuff. Bobby Womack, all that sort of now into the 70s sort of funky stuff.
Flares,
I'm loving
crystal
all
balls.
that. Yeah. Love all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Quality, great.
Okay.
we were going out for a drive today. I went downstairs and the missus was watching some documentary about the Bee Gees.
Right.
Oh, great.
What a band.
So we went out in the car and stuck the old Spotify on, drove over the mountains over towards Roundwood and that, listening to the Bee Gees. But what I then changed it to was songs written by the Bee Gees for others.
Yeah.
You'd be
Great
amazed
songs.
the amount of songs that they like. Islands in the Stream,
Chain Reaction.
All of that.
Well, this could go on for a while, but I'm gonna have to stop this. But if anybody wants to Google, if anyone wants to Google songs written by the Bee Gees for others, and then make a playlist out of it and let us know what the playlist is, we will.
There's already a playlist there on Spotify.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh, you need to share that with me, then I'll have a listen. Has Keith given the new Metallica? Have you given the new Metallica album a spin yet?
No, I didn't know there was a new Metallica one. I must have a look. I do love Metallica. Metallica are brilliant.
Bit of that, yeah. Keith loves everything. You won't catch him on anything. He'll listen to any old shite. Right, that has been the Fatback 4. Gav, Emmet, Keith, everyone in the chat. It's been absolutely brilliant as usual. Tomorrow, winners and losers. Yeah. Tuesday we usually
after those games.
Tuesday we usually take off. Wednesday, I don't know whether to do a transfer show on Wednesday or do a call-in show. What do you think?
Do a transfer call-in show.
Oh, transfer! Oh God, this is why this is why I'm not in charge of the programming for this channel. Okay, transfer call-in show on Wednesday. We might try to.
I like that.
Thursday we'll try to do the viewer's voice. Matt and Glenn were on last week, and they're really good, the two of them together. And they'll have lovely chats. Friday will be your Premier League forecast. Saturday nothing. Sunday we'll be on. Monday we'll be back with full-time Reds. So yeah, enjoy your week. Be good, be safe. Whatever you're doing, have a good time. And look, the Eurovision's only a week away, isn't it? There you go. Something to look forward to. That's been the Fatback 4. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.